Hello, everyone. I am the reanimated corpse of Brockhampton. Welcome back to Pretty Damn Good, a series where I look at some of my favorite songs of the past week or so that I thought were pretty damn good. Whether it be one offs, lead singles, or deep cuts, I try to highlight some of my favorites of the past 7 days and beyond, starting off with Hashtag a Choi by Tricot. Now, Tricot, I've listened to a couple of albums of theirs in the past. They're a Japanese math rock band from Japan, and um, I did enjoy it. A couple of the albums they released in the past, but they didn't really stick out to me. Unlike this song, that feels a lot more poppy, a lot more. I don't know, a lot more hooky in a sense, the way the guitar kind of bounces all over the place, but not necessarily within a very common register, I want to say. Like, I feel like it shifts all over the place, but I could still recall the main hook of it, especially in the beginning, as well as the way it kind of ramps up near the end of the song. I also enjoy a lot of the ad libs that are thrown in here, like the little chirps at the beginning, as well as the wretches that are thrown near the end of the chorus. And also the way they kind of throw in this like double triple meter at the end that's like the tick dun tick dun tick dun tick dun like vocally, and I just think that's honestly really cool, and I definitely couldn't do it, so I'm already impressed. um and I also enjoy the lyrical sentiment about how this feels kind of like antisocial, yet sort of reminiscing about qualities of like summer and other things like that that a lot of people tend to reminisce, sort of like that dichotomy of antisocial with social focus, I guess. And yeah, I just enjoyed this song a fair amount, and I can't wait to see what album that this might be in store for. Up next, we have Amnesia by Ingrata. Ingrata. Yeah, that's it. Um, it's from her latest album, Kitsune, the lead-off track to this. And I don't know, I just like a lot of the authentic Latin vibes that come from this, even if the percussion as well as some of the synths do kind of sort of realize that the space isn't exactly as authentic in its presentation as it is, but still, I do enjoy a lot of the guitars on here as well as some of the other strings that are put on here as well. And I enjoy the vocals as well on here, the way they sort of talk about like love just kind of being a short thing, or not really a short thing, but just the way that it could all go away, especially in the case of Ingrata, who says, if you want me to leave you alone, I'll develop amnesia just like that. Or, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's kind of cold blooded in that sense, but also it's interesting the way it's meshed with the more lively Latin inspired mix all throughout. Yeah, I enjoyed this a fair amount. Up next, we have the starting song from Elder's latest album, Innate Passage, titled Catastasis. Now, this song is a little bit of a slow burner. That might be a understatement considering it's 10 and a half minutes. But I don't know. I enjoy the way that the hard rock elements are matched in with some of the lighter elements. I believe the mixing on this is really damn solid. I enjoy the way that pianos are somehow incorporated, and you can hear all of that within like the harder tones as well. It's a really cool song, and I really enjoy all the riffage and the lyrics. They're there, I guess. This is definitely more of a jam session that you listen to rather than, something that you go for the story of it all. However, I do enjoy the rest of this album. I enjoy some of the lyrics on some of the later songs. What was there's the one song that's right after this that I enjoy the lyrics on. But yeah, I can't say enough about this record or Catastasis. Up next, we have Free Game by Mount Westmore, which is a supergroup comprised of Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, E40, and Too Short. Uh, I think if you're a fan of this series, you know that I am a huge fan of posse cuts, and this is no exception. The way that all these verses kind of stack up on top of each other while also sort of dealing with the same subject of sort of like black capitalism in a sense. I enjoy that aspect a lot, as well as Ice Cube's closing verse, the way it kind of all closes out all the individual themes that each of the other members of this super group have talking about here. And yeah, I enjoyed that facet of it as well. I also enjoyed the pianos that occasionally come in on the chorus, but don't always. So it's kind of like a unique element that keeps coming in and out. So, it's not like something that's just like, oh, put on loop over and over again. Uh, I also enjoy the way E40 just feel. I always enjoy E40's verses, the way he just kind of seems to like talk, but then it feels so rhythmic, and like the way it's just formed all together. Just yeah, it's a great song, and I really only wish that this group's first album wasn't an NFT. That's my only qualm. That isn't even related to the song. But yeah. Up next, we have Realistic by Corook. Um, this song is a little bit of a weird spot because I don't exactly agree with the lyrical sentiment of the song, the way that it talks about love kind of, being a very temporary thing, which I guess could be tied into amnesia, but I think that's more about boundaries than anything. This more is just straight up about the philosophical constructs of love, the concepts behind it. And I don't really agree with that, but the way that it's kind of lined out, it's a really captivating listen, especially when a lot of the personal details about Karuk's relationship just kind of falls into the folds here. The way that she kind of talks about not really believing in like forever as love because there are so many things that could happen. Um, I also enjoy the way that the sense of realism is also highlighted instrumentally. The guitar, that's the main focus of the the like backdrop for the majority of this song, actually has a couple of mistakes, like especially at the end of the last chorus, where it kind of, I think, sort of like it's like a dead note rather than a true ringing out of the note. And I think that adds a lot of quality to this song, as well as the way that the last bit of the song kind of just sort of fades out slowly, instrument by instrument. And yeah, while it's not a sentiment I actually agree with, honestly, I do I respect the songwriting and the chops that it goes through in order to highlight this view, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, good song all around. Up next, we have Snake Eyes by Wajid. This comes from his latest album, Memoirs of High Tech Jazz. It's a lot of I don't really know what subgenre of dance music this is, but it does feel kind of, I don't know, Catronata-esque in a sense, if you're into that. I really enjoy the way that live instrumentation is in uh, interpolated in with all these electronic elements of the drum machine, as well as that really acidic bass line that oh, I love it so much. Um, but yeah, I enjoy the saxophones, the way they kind of wail, but sort of reserved in that front, as well as the way that the pianos kind of move everything around. And yeah, it's a really great piece all around, and I enjoy the rest of the record as well. It's a little bit of a slow burn at the start. It takes a bit to get going, but once it does, goddamn, does it go. Up next, we have Suge Knight by Young Jimmy. Now, this one is a little bit. I don't really know what attracts me to this song. I think it's mostly just. I know this is a bit of my first foray into Malianteo? Yeah, Malianteo as a genre. And yeah, I don't know. I just think it's the way the menace is kind of highlighted with like all the gunshots that are like recorded on here, as well as the interludes that but from other members of Young Chimi's posse that get interrupted by all these gunshots that just feels so menacing, and also the quality of those interludes that could either sound like their voice memos from an iPhone or like genuine like prison calls. I the way that I'm not exactly sure because of the language barrier there is just like really it's I don't know. It's a lot to take in, especially since it's 8.5 minutes in length. But I think the chorus goes well on here. I especially love the third verse on here, which is just about as long as the interludes. And yeah, I think it's a really good song all around. The way the menace builds, and yeah, good stuff. Uh, Up next, we have This Is What I Mean by Stormzy. This is What I Mean is the latest album from UK rapper Stormzy, this being the title track of that record. And it feels very progressive in the way it kind of starts out with very non it doesn't have a lot of perks in the beginning. The way it just starts out with the piano rollick and then just kind of goes to these strings with very manipulated vocals until finally Stormzy comes in with his verse. And I don't know, it's just a lot to take in. It's 5.5 minutes and it's just pure, like, it's pure, not chaos. It's very controlled. You can tell that Stormzy has himself under wraps, but he is able to let loose at any possible moment given the chance. And I think that's what I like about this song the most. Yeah, good song. I'm not sure if I enjoy the rest of the record the same, but this is definitely a huge highlight. Up next, we have You and I from 80 Perp. I don't know. I think this one I just enjoy the late night kind of vibes of it, the saxophone sort of the way it sort of builds off of the synths and the way that they kind of just slide in and out of itself. 80 Perp isn't exactly a huge like presence on this track. But I do enjoy that he realizes that he doesn't need to like cover up everything that's happening here. He lets a lot of space in between his verses. He lets a lot of he lets it breathe in a sense. And I just enjoy the vibe that it gives off. I enjoy the sort of haziness that it portrays, and sometimes that's all you really need for a great song. And finally, we have What's on Your Mind by Take Van. Uh, this one, I really enjoy the dance qualities of it, the way it's almost adjacent to hyperpop, but not really. The only real thing that sort of gives it away is just the sort of the weird percussive elements, like the little drip sound effect that's added here and there around. And I don't know, I enjoy the way that this song there isn't really a lot that I want to say about it. It's only about 2 minutes, but Take Van takes that 2 minutes and really lets it loose on a very unique journey of letting white noise play with the production, as well as just the way she plays with the melodies from this chord progression. Yeah, it's a good song. And those were my favorites of the week. My favorite of those bunch would probably be This Is What I Mean, just for how I don't know. It's the one that I definitely played the most, and I could definitely see that being in like a workout playlist in the future. In terms of runner-ups for this week, I did want to give a shout out to Get On My Love by Picture This. I I I think it's just a chord progression that really gets me. It's that it sounds like something from like the B movie or something, or like an animated movie from like the 2000s that's like over the top, but like in a very adult contemporary way. Then we also have One More by Mike Wiki and the Alchemist, just a really good underground rap cut that yeah, Mike and Wiki both kill on this song. And last one I want to highlight is Don't Let Go by Super Shy and Tom Mish, which is another dance cut that I think has a lot more realistic elements to really drive it over the top in a sense. And if you have any songs that you think that I am a fool for not mentioning this week, of course you gotta let me know down in the comments below. Just, I want to keep the conversation going as long as possible. Do it. If you want to like, subscribe, follow my socials, that'd be great too. I, yeah, that's all I really want to say. I think I'm gonna keep this one take formula, if not because I just feel like with a lot of other things coming up in my life, this takes a lot already to like try and comb through songs and then trying to type out sort of a list for everything to really follow, as well as editing. Just kind of takes a lot out of me. This might change in the future as I get better with presenting this. Maybe I might learn how to be good at talking for once and not go on longer for this than I have for any cut that has happened here. But thank you so much for watching, and I've been Par. You've been watching Pardon the Music. I hope you have a pretty damn good one out there. I'll see you next time.